Okay, let's dive in. Just try to picture this for a second. You're heading up security for some huge, really sprawling company. Let's call them Global Corp.
Right.
And they've just bought up, say, Acme acquisitions and Beta Branch offices. Each one's got its own network, its own security people, maybe even different ideas about security.
Happens all the time, mergers and acquisitions, yeah.
Exactly. So how do you, as the security boss at Global Corp, keep track of all the policies, every single log, every device,
Yeah.
across maybe dozens, even hundreds of these independent systems without, losing your mind?
Yeah. It sounds like you're trying to herd cats, basically.
Yeah.
1,000 cats, all running different ways.
It really does.
And it's not just a challenge. It's genuinely one of the biggest headaches in cybersecurity today. That kind of distributed setup.
Oh.
Well, it can quickly turn into a security nightmare you just can't manage.
Leading to?
Oh, audit failures, security postures that are all over the place, inconsistent,
Mhm.
and just huge costs to try and run it all separately.
Absolutely. And, well, that's exactly what we're getting into today. Multi-domain security management. MDSM, for short.
Mhm.
We're sort of using checkpoints 156, 541 exam topics as a roadmap, but really, our mission here isn't just to define it, it's to cut through that complexity.
Yeah, give you a shortcut, kind of.
Exactly, a shortcut to understanding how these big companies, like our Global Corp example, actually get that central control and consistency.
While still letting Acme or Beta Branch do what they need to do locally. That flexibility is key, too.
Right. So we're hoping to share some key insights, maybe a few surprising things along the way.
And really help you get a practical feel for how MDSM works in the real world. Make it clear and useful, not just, dense theory.
Okay, so let's build that foundation for Global Corp. The first big idea, I think, is getting the difference between a multi-domain server, an MDS, and just a regular standalone security management server, the SMS.
They sound similar, don't they?
Yeah.
NDS, SMS. But yeah, their purpose is totally different.
How so? What's the main split?
Well, think about the scale of the problem they solve. A standalone SMS that's designed for just one security domain.
Like managing just Acme acquisitions on its own.
Exactly. Just Acme's network,
Yeah.
their policies, simple enough. But the multi-domain server, the MDS, that's built specifically to centrally manage multiple independent security domains.
Ah, okay. So it's designed for that big Global Corp challenge.
Precisely. It helps simplify compliance, enforce consistent rules everywhere, and honestly drastically cuts down the effort and cost of managing security across all those different units.
Got it. It's like shifting from managing one local shop to running the whole chain from a central HQ. Makes sense.
Right.
So if Global Corp decides, okay, we need an MDS, what are the pieces? What actually makes up that installation? What lets it do that heavy lifting for all these networks?
Yeah, good question. There are essentially two absolutely critical parts to an MDS setup. First, obviously, is the core multi-domain server software
The
itself.
brain, basically.
The brain, yeah. Global Corp Security HQ. It provides that central management for all the different domains. And second, and this is really key for seeing the whole picture, something people sometimes miss at first, is the Smart Event Server component.
Smart event. Okay, what's its role?
Its job is to collect and analyze security events, logs, alerts, that kind of thing, from all the managed domains. It allows for consolidated event management.
So you can see everything happening across Acme, Beta Branch, everyone else all in one place.
Exactly. You really can't secure what you can't see, right?
Yeah.
And pulling those events together centrally, it's just a massive boost for responding to incidents quickly and effectively.
Yeah, I can see that. Huge operational win. Okay, so we have the central MDS brain and the smart event collector. Now, within this Global Corp structure, you also hear about domain management servers, DMS. What do they do? And what are their limits? Are they like mini MDSs?
That's a great question. And no, they're definitely not mini NDSs. They have a very specific job. A domain management server, or DMS, is responsible for managing the security policies and talking to the security gateways, but only within its own specific domain.
So the DMS at Acme Acquisitions only worries about Acme's stuff.
That's it. It handles Acme's policies, Acme's gateways. It doesn't manage Beta Branch's policies, and it definitely doesn't control other domains or handle the big, overarching Global Corp configurations.
Okay, so it's not bossing other domains around.
Not at all. Think of it like a regional manager. They focus on their region, their territory, and they report upwards to the main HQ, the MDS.
That regional manager analogy works really well. Okay, so the DMS handles the local day-to-day for Acme. But if Global Corp is truly centralizing, There must be something above the DMS coordinating everything, right?
Absolutely.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think, the global domain. What's its main job in this whole MDSM setup? How does it stop it just being a free-for-all down at the domain level?
Yeah, the global domain is, well, it's absolutely critical for making this whole thing work for Global Corp. Its main purpose is to manage and then share out policies and objects configurations, basically that need to apply across all the individual security domains.
So this is how Global Corp enforces its company-wide standards.
Exactly. This is how you get that centralized control and consistency for the common stuff. Think about Global Corp's main security team setting the baseline rules for everyone. Things like standard ways to set up VPNs, core network access rules, maybe common threat prevention settings.
That makes sense for consistency.
And, a surprising thing here is that while local flexibility is important, often the biggest security holes come from those inconsistencies between domains, rather than just bad policy in one place. So often the challenge is as much about governance and process as it is the tech itself.
I bet that's not always smooth sailing, though, when you try to push out these global policies from the top. What's a major thing admins need to watch out for? Seems like you could easily have clashes if Acme already has its own rules.
Oh, absolutely. That raises a really important point. How do you stop Global Corp's global rules from, stepping on the toes of what Acme needs locally? Or, even worse, directly conflicting?
Right.
Administrators have to be really careful about potential conflicts between global objects or policies and the local ones. Global settings can overlap or interfere with domain-specific things.
Like what, for example?
Like maybe you define a network object called web server globally, but Acme already uses that name for a different server locally. Or maybe a global rule allows traffic that a local rule is supposed to block. You need careful planning, good naming conventions, and really strict change management to avoid causing problem security gaps or just breaking things.
So it's a real balancing act. Central control versus local needs. Where do companies usually struggle with that balance? Do they tend to be too heavy-handed from the global side or give too much freedom locally?
That's a great practical question. Often I think the struggle is in getting the level of the global policies right, making them broad enough to be useful everywhere, but not so rigid that they stop local teams from doing what they genuinely need to do for their specific environment.
Okay, so following that, which things can be managed independently down in the domain versus what has to be managed globally by the MDS?
Well, individual domains like Acme or Beta Branch actually keep quite a bit of control for their own specific security tuning. For example, they can independently manage their own policy packages, the detailed rule sets, and their own IPS profiles.
IPS profiles, those are the intrusion prevention settings.
Yeah, exactly. Those customizable shields that look for and block specific attack patterns. So they can tailor that protection to the threats they see most often in their domain. That allows for really specific, necessary customization.
But some things must be central.
Oh, definitely. Things like software licensing for all the checkpoint gear across Global Corp that's always managed centrally. And any truly global shared objects. Think about elements used by all domains, like maybe the main corporate VPN gateways, or a universal list of blocked IP addresses. Those are always managed centrally by Global Corp's main MDS team.
Okay, that division of labor makes sense. Powerful setup. Now, let's talk about keeping it all running smoothly. If Global Corp has, say, dozens or even hundreds of domains, and they're all generating security logs and events, how on earth do you handle log management? I mean, wouldn't the logs just be completely scattered everywhere, impossible to piece together?
You're absolutely right. Doing that manually would be, well, a nightmare. Impossible, really. And that's precisely where the multi-domain log server, or MDLS, comes in.
Okay, another component.
Yep. It's specifically designed to pull in and consolidate logs from all the managed domains, from Acme, from Beta, from everyone else under Global Corp.
So it centralizes all that log data.
It's exactly.
Okay.
Which is incredibly valuable. Gives you streamlined log management, easier reporting, and that kind of single pane of glass view across your whole distributed setup. I actually remember a client where putting this in was just a lifesaver.
How so?
They literally cut their average time to respond to security incidents by like 30%, just because they could finally see everything happening correlated in one place. Made a huge difference.
Wow, 30%. That's significant. Okay, and speaking of keeping things running, high availability, HA. What are the good reasons to set up HA for the main multi-domain server itself? I mean, you can't have Global Corp's central security brain going offline, can you?
You absolutely cannot risk that. The MDS is the nerve center,
Yeah.
right? So setting up high availability for the MDS serves two really critical purposes.
Okay, what are they?
First, and most obviously, it ensures continuous operation by providing failover capabilities. If your main primary MDS fails for whatever reason,
Hardware failure, network issue.
anything, yeah. Another MDS server, the secondary one, can seamlessly and pretty much instantly take over.
Yeah.
So Global Corp's security management doesn't get disrupted. It's like having a backup brain ready to go.
Makes sense. And the second reason?
The second reason is just as crucial. HA synchronizes domain configurations across those multiple MDS servers. It makes sure the primary and the backup MDS always have the exact same up-to-date configuration information for all the domains.
Oh, so they stay perfectly in sync.
Exactly. You wouldn't want your backup brain suddenly making different decisions because it had old data, right? That consistency is vital.
Failover and config sync.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, last area. Let's get practical for the admins actually using this stuff at Global Corp. What tools do they use day to day to manage all these different domains from, hopefully, one place?
Yeah, they've got a couple of powerful options. There's the classic management interface, Smart Dashboard.
Right, the older GUI.
Yeah, many people who've used Checkpoint for a while know it well. It's got that visual layout, kind of like a blueprint of your network. But then there's also Smart Console,
The newer one.
the newer, more modern unified interface. It pulls lots of different management tasks together into one application. The key thing is, both of them give you that central point of control, that visual way to manage your entire multi-domain setup. So Global Corp's team can manage Acme and Beta just as easily as if they were right next door.
Nice. And inevitably, even with great tools, things sometimes break, especially in complex systems. What are some common first steps for troubleshooting when there are issues with the multi-domain server itself? Where do you even start looking when something goes wrong in such a big, interconnected environment?
Good question. When troubleshooting MDS issues, there are usually two key things you do first. Number one, you examine the MDS log files, specifically the main system log, which is typically mds-dir log mds.lg.
Okay, the mds.elg file.
Yep, think of that as the flight recorder for the whole system. If something's wrong, that log file is often the best place to find detailed error messages and clues about what happened.
And the second thing?
Second, especially if you're running high availability, you need to verify the synchronization status between your primary and secondary MDS nodes. Make sure they're talking to each other correctly and that the configurations are properly synced up. Problems there can cause all sorts of weird behavior.
Check the logs, check the sync status. That's super helpful. Just knowing where to look first is often half the battle, isn't it? Especially when you're dealing with something the size of Global Corp.
Absolutely. Maybe something for you to mull over. Given how fast technology is changing and how cyber threats are constantly evolving, how does this architecture, multi-domain security management, how might it need to evolve? What's needed next to support even more agility, maybe more automation, in the future for Global Corp's security team?
That's a great question to leave things on. What does the next evolution look like?